Welcome to Everything Football and welcome to another Champions League Fantasy Update video. In this one, we will be doing a limitless draft for match day 3, the best limitless draft for match day 3. I have done some research. You don't have to agree with every single decision. There's a couple of positions you can go with different players. There's some players I believe they are must-owns, whether you're playing a limitless chip, whether you're playing a wildcard, whether you're making transfers. There's some players you have to have in your team. So some of you have decided to play a limitless in match day 3, so this is a video for you. But if you haven't played any chip and you're planning to, maybe this video can lure you into playing your limitless chip. So let's get started. The best team, the best players to have for match day 3. As I say, there's still an international break. There's still like more than 2 weeks to go before match day 3 gets started. So things might change. Injuries might occur. Players might return like Benzema and stuff like that. So decisions might change. So let's start with the best defender to have in your side. The one player that this is the boring part because this is the players that we definitely have to have, and I'm going to talk about Man City. Cancelo, like those two, that one fixture, because it's a limitless chip, that one fixture is too good to ignore. At home to Copenhagen, I think they will start the best players in match day, at least until match day 4. Match day 5 and 6, if they've already gone through, they might decide to change up a couple of things. If they already finished fast, especially match day 6, they might decide to just keep it very to just rest players and keep it for the Premier League. The one thing we need to know about this fixture, they actually play against Manchester United right before. So it's going to be a feisty game, Manchester derby. Injuries could occur, maybe anything like that. They might be tired. He might rest maybe 2 players, so you need to be careful about that one. But I think Cancelo will definitely start against Copenhagen. In the second leg, we have to wait and see. But luckily for the second leg, we get to see City's team news before the deadline hits. So Cancelo is the first player there. Now, the one player I think will definitely be there, I'm sure he'll definitely be there, whether they play Man United, whether they play Barcelona before that, they don't care. Erling Haaland. He's already risen in price, but as a limitless cheap user, you do not have to care about that one. Erling Haaland is directly there. He scored in both Champions League games so far. He scored in nearly every single Premier League game, home and away. He does not care which one is which. He's already bagged a couple of hat tricks up against Copenhagen. Very, very good fixture at home. That is a game I could easily see City winning by 4 or 5. The last time they went away from home, Copenhagen, they lost heavily to Dortmund, and they managed to get a draw against Sevilla, but Sevilla haven't been that great. I'm expecting them to finish as the bottom 2. So Erling Haaland is the best striker to have in your limitless draft for this match day. Now, I have said through the wildcard, through the limitless draft, right after match day 2, for this match day, I think you need to have 3 Bayern Munich players and 3 Man City players because of the fixture. So who is the third Man City player you can include? Now, in the wildcard draft, I put in a defender. In case you haven't watched that, the link will be in the description, and it will also be linked at the end of this video. But midfielder, I think a midfielder in this one is great because we don't care about the price for the wildcard one because we had only 100 million budget. You have to go very cheap, and the defenders are cheaper than the midfielders. But in this one, since we have no budget at all and you can spend however much money we want, I think De Bruyne is a good option for this one. Might he be rested? Of course. So I was thinking Foden as well. Foden might be a starter for this one, but I think Foden is starting more like in the Premier League. He might start the Man United game, but not start this Champions League one. Mahrez could start this one as well, but I think De Bruyne will start. I mean, and when Haaland scores, it's De Bruyne who is assisting. That's the best thing about these two. It's like Tottenham last season, especially when Kane is scoring, it's Son who's assisting. When Son is scoring, it's Kane who's assisting. So Erling Haaland, De Bruyne, very, very good options against Copenhagen. And there's a chance that even if they don't start and they come on for 30 minutes, 25 minutes, there's a chance they can still score. So that is a benefit. So Erling Haaland and De Bruyne and Cancelo as the 3 Man City players, they are up against Copenhagen at home. So they play on the second day as well. So those are the 3 players I've chosen from Man City. Next up, we have to go to Bayern Munich. As we already know, Bayern Munich up against Victoria Pilsen. Victoria Pilsen conceded 5 goals against Barcelona and another 2 goals against Inter Milan. 7 goals in 2 games. Bayern Munich, business as usual, easy wins against Barcelona and another easy win against Inter Milan without conceding a goal. You might argue you can go for a couple of their defenders if you're guaranteed that they're not going to concede against Victoria Pilsen. My thought is usually I prefer going for 2 forward players than two defenders, because it only takes a penalty or a corner from somewhere, an own goal, and it's and your clean sheet is gone. You really have to depend on attacking returns. So I have gone for Leroy Sané, of course, 100%. I think he has to be in every team, whether you're playing your wildcard or limitless. Very, very good option. Last season, he was one of the top scoring midfielders, and this season he started very, very fast as well. Goals in both games against Inter Milan and Barcelona, and this is their easiest fixture so far. So Leroy Sané is there for sure. But who are the other two players to have from Bayern Munich? We can take a punt on Muller. We can try Sadio Mane, who hasn't been that great in the Champions League. We can go for Alphonso Davies. Could we even go for Neuer as the goalkeeper, guaranteed starter? Could you go for Kimmich? Lucas Hernandez, I believe, is currently injured. I think Pavard went out in the last game injured as well. So the likes of Upamecano could be guaranteed starters for that one. I've definitely gone for Alphonso Davies as the defender. Like the recovery points on that left side, I think he has more than 10 recovered the ball more than 10 times so far this season. He might not have that much to recover in this game, but in terms of going forward and assisting from the left back position, left wing back position, is going to be a very great option. And the price you do not have to worry about. If you're playing your wildcard and you need cheaper ones, then you might decide to go for like a 5 million defender like Upamecano. But in this one, I think Alphonso Davies is the best one. Next up, we need a third Bayern Munich player. Now, this is where you can make your own decision, literally. You might decide to go for Muller, you might decide to go for Mane, you might decide to go for a defender or even Neuer to complement Davies and get a double as a clean sheet there if you think they're definitely going to keep a clean sheet. But I have gone for Sadio Mane. Now, not many people will have Sadio Mane, especially the ones who are just making transfers or playing the wildcard, because it's very expensive. He's currently owned by 10%, but he's not done well so far, as I've already mentioned, in the Champions League so far. But if you're one of those people who are playing a limitless cheap and you have him and he gets like 2 goals against Victoria Pilsen, is almost like a differential, because not many people will have him. And even for the people who are playing their limitless, I don't think many people will choose him because of other players to have. So I think he's a good option for this one. Attacking, I think they're going to get 4 or 5 goals in this game. So Sadio Mane goes there. And then those are 3 Bayern Munich players and 3 Man City players. I think we are done with that one. The other team, I think we should have at least 2 players from this this round of fixtures, is Liverpool. Now, at the beginning of the season, I went without any Liverpool players, and it was okay because they got thumped 4 goals by Napoli. And even in the second game, they had to struggle. They only scored from a corner in the 90th minute against Ajax. I have gone for Trent Alexander-Arnold. Rangers, they've played 2 games so far, away at Ajax and at home to Napoli. They haven't scored a single goal. So 0 goals in 2 games. If Liverpool keep a clean sheet in this game at Anfield and Alexander-Arnold gets an assist from somewhere, from a corner, from a free kick, or even scores a goal, he's taken a couple of shots in both games, it could be a very, very good option. And with Robertson injured on the other side, I think Trent will definitely start in this one. So I've gone for Trent Alexander-Arnold. I've just mentioned that Rangers have conceded 7 goals in those games, so I have gone for Mohamed Salah. He's also on penalties. Rangers against Napoli, they conceded 2 penalties, if I'm not wrong. They conceded 2 penalties against Napoli. So if they do the same and consider a couple of penalties against Liverpool, it's going to be Salah taking them. And Salah, a team that has just conceded 7 goals in 2 games, and if you can even add a game they played in their league where they conceded 4 against Celtic, they've conceded like 11 goals in like those last 3 big games they've played Rangers. So Salah goes there as well. So this is where you can also decide whether you want a third Liverpool player. Would you prefer to go for Nunes? Would you prefer to go for Luis Diaz? Remember Ajax and Napoli. Now, that is a game that could easily end as a draw, but I don't think it's going to end as a 0-0 draw, 1-1 draw. I'm expecting Ajax Napoli to be like 3-3 or something like that. So there will be goals in that game. So that is where you need to decide whether you're going to go for a Napoli forward, or you're going to go for an Ajax forward. You can still go for players like Kudus. You don't have to just go for all the expensive players because you're on a limitless chip. No, you can still go for players like Kudus if you feel they're going to do well against Napoli. But for me, in that position, I have gone for a Real Madrid player. I've gone for Vinicius up against Shakhtar. Vinicius, both games he has scored, he has assisted, so very good option as usual. And with Benzema out as of now, Vinicius is always starting, and you always expect him to get a return. So Vinicius is the player I have gone for from Madrid in midfield. Now they're playing against Shakhtar. I don't think it's an easy game. I think Shakhtar could easily score, and I think Shakhtar will create chances, and that is why I have picked their goalkeeper, Courtois, because if Shakhtar can create chances, and if Real Madrid can keep a clean sheet, that means there will be a couple of save points there for Courtois, maybe a save point, or maybe even two if Shakhtar take a lot of shots. So Courtois is there as my first goalkeeper. So that is two Real Madrid players as well. And then my other goalkeeper from the previous day, I have gone for the Tottenham goalkeeper. Tottenham goalkeeper is the one I've gone for. Lloris. Now, the one thing with Tottenham in the first game against Marseille, they didn't concede a goal. Against Marseille at home, they didn't concede a goal. Against Sporting in the second game, they had gone 90 minutes without conceding until Sporting scored two late goals. So they could easily have had two clean sheets in a row. And Lloris was making some fantastic saves in those games. So away at Frankfurt, he might not have to make that many saves. But Frankfurt, remember, the first time they played at home this season against Sporting, they didn't even score a goal. So that is why I've gone for Lloris. And also the kind of tactics Conte is playing in Tottenham are playing back five, mostly defensive, especially in the away games, like against Sporting last time out. So I have gone for Lloris and Courtois as my two goalkeepers. Remember, Lloris playing on the first day, Courtois playing on the second day. So even if Lloris doesn't deliver, you can just easily bring in Courtois. So that is the midfield done and the goalkeeping done. So next up, let's complete the defenders. Now, defenders again, you can easily decide to go for Carvajal if you feel like Real Madrid are going to keep a clean sheet. You can go for two of their players. As I said, you might decide to go for another Liverpool player like Van Dijk. If you prefer, you can go for Nunes up front. But the other defender I have gone for is I've stuck with this guy because I really believe in him. His name is Hakimi from PSG. Now, you don't really have to go for him. You can go for anyone else. You can decide to go for an Ajax defender or a Napoli defender. They can get you attacking returns. You can decide to that. But I have gone for Hakimi. He was rested in the last game. I think he's going to start in the next game against Benfica. It's not easy. Benfica could easily score a goal, but the defenders we have here are not the defenders who are going to depend on only clean sheets. Cancelo last time picked up more than 6 points without keeping a clean sheet. Alphonso Davies can get attacking returns. Alexander-Arnold can score goals as well. And Hakim is a threat up front. When I had him in match day one, I've had him in match day 1 and 2. Match day 1, he got an assist and he almost scored a goal. He got a chance, literally missed it by inches. He could have had a goal and an assist in that game. So Hakimi is also a good option, but this is one of the players that you really don't have to go for. If you feel like Benfica are going to be very tough, you can easily switch that to a defense that you prefer for the limitless chip. And the next defender I have gone for is from Napoli. Yes, I've gone for a Napoli defender away at Ajax. Again, as I said, not just because of clean sheets. No, that is not the only thing we are depending on. Di Lorenzo, I'll show you his stats. 5 million is what it's going to cost you if you want him and you're not playing a limitless chip. He's had 20 ball recoveries this season. He had 8 points in match day 2, 8 balls recovered, and he recovered 12 balls against Liverpool in match day 1. So away from home against Ajax, you would expect Ajax to create a lot of chances, to push forward a lot. It's going to be an attacking game. I'm expecting an attacking group in this group: Liverpool, Ajax, Napoli, and Rangers, an attacking group. So Di Lorenzo can easily pick up a lot of recovery points in that match. And if something happens and they cancel each other out and it ends 0-0, then Di Lorenzo could be a good option. Again, I'm trying not to be too predictable. I'm going for a couple of different options. So these two defenders, you might decide not to go for any of them, Hakimi or Di Lorenzo. The goalkeepers, you might decide to go for an Ederson or an Alisson, literally up to you. Midfield, you might decide to go for Foden or instead of De Bruyne, up to you as well. And you might decide not to go for Mane. You might decide Kimmich is better for you. That is literally up to your team and how you feel. It's time for the forwards. Which forwards have I gone for apart from Erling Haaland? Now, I have chosen Lewandowski. When you're playing a World Cup, you're just making subs. Then Lewandowski might try to avoid him because you don't want to carry him on for match day 4 and 5 because the fixtures are tough. But for a draft like this, a limitless draft, I think Lewandowski is a great option. He has already scored more than 6 goals in their league. He's already scored a hat-trick in the first game against Pilsen. And I know Inter Milan is not the easiest of fixtures, but Inter Milan, they gave Bayern Munich a lot of chances when Bayern Munich went there. And even in their league, they're not unbeaten. They've lost a couple of games in their league as well, Inter Milan. So I wouldn't be surprised if this game ends in a 2-2 draw and Lewandowski got a couple of goals and also on penalties as well. So Lewandowski is my option as the second striker. And then the third striker, again, you can easily go for anyone. You can decide to go for Muller, as I said, Bayern Munich, you might decide to go for Muller. Usually, if you're playing, if you're not playing a cheap at 10 million, it seems a bit expensive. You might decide to go for Nunes from Liverpool. You might decide to go for a Chelsea player or an AC Milan player from that game. You might decide on Leao. You might decide on Giroud if you feel like he's going to score against his former club, Chelsea, Inter Milan, Dzeko. Maybe if Lukaku is back, Juventus. Some people have mentioned Juventus players like Milik and Vlahovic against Maccabi Haifa. That could be an option as well. I'll talk about the Juventus players very, very soon. But I think even if it's Benfica, whether it's home or away, I think they'll get a couple of goals. So I've stuck with Kylian Mbappe. I think he'll definitely score in this one as well. I think they will score in every single game, PSG. They don't really care who they're playing against. It will get harder in the knockout stages, but here I think they will definitely get chances and score. I can see them winning this one by at least 2-1 or something like that. So that is the Limitless team. As I said, you don't have to go for this. There's a lot of changes you can make. Juventus, you can go. I really don't trust Juventus. There's even been talks about their manager getting sacked. Allegri is not doing well and all that. So I'm really not keen on their team. And Maccabi Haifa scored a goal against PSG and had more than 11 shots in that game. So I'd not be surprised if they went to Juventus and scored. But if you prefer, you can go for someone like a Kostic. Forward line, I'm really not keen on their forward line, but you can decide to go for Vlahovic or Milik. It's literally up to you. So that is how the Limitless team is looking. At the back, goalkeepers Courtois and Lloris. Back five of Cancelo, Alphonso Davies, Alexander Arnold, Hakimi, and Di Lorenzo. A midfield of De Bruyne, Sane, Mane, Salah, and Vinicius Jr. And a striking force of Haaland, Lewandowski, and Mbappe. As you can see, we are missing Ajax players. That is something you might decide to go for in one of those midfield positions. Bergwijn, still very good options at home to Napoli. I'm expecting a high-scoring game there. But when that happens, if like Berghuis picks up 8 points, you hope that your midfielders like De Bruyne, Sané can pick up 8 as well, or 9 or 10. Then you wouldn't really feel that as long as your midfielders do return. And then in terms of the date they're playing, we have a goalkeeper playing on the 4th and the 5th, and then we'll start with Alphonso Davies, Alexander Arnold, and Di Lorenzo, and maybe Cancelo, and then Hakimi can be on the bench to come on the next day. Salah starts, Mane starts, Sané starts, and then we'll have someone like a Vinicius on the bench to come on the next day if needed. And then we'll have someone like a Lewandowski and Haaland starting, and then Mbappe to come on the next day. Maybe the PSG players on the bench to come on the next day if needed. So that is how the team is looking. In terms of captaincy, I think on the 4th, as I said, you can go for anyone. I think Son is the best against Pilsen. And then if you'll need to change it, then Erling Haaland up against Copenhagen. Hope this video has been helpful. As always, if you haven't joined the league, there is the code on scrolling down the screen. And the direct link is always in the description. Thank you for the support. Make sure to hit the like button and make sure to subscribe if you're still new. But maybe you do not want to play a limitless ship. Maybe you want to play your wildcard. I've already done a video for that. Click on the video on screen to check that one out. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch up with you on the next one.